I'm interviewing Mr. Charlie Camilleri at his home in Newton Street, Broken Hill. It's Saturday the 3rd of November 1984. I'd like to begin by asking about your background in Malta. Could you tell me where you were born and in what year?
Hamrun.
When were you?
In 1907.
How many brothers and sisters did you have?
2 brothers and 4 sisters.
What did your parents do for a living?
And my dad was working out here, but at home we had a bit of land.
What did he do with the land? What sort of
projects? Wheat, spuds.
Was that in Hamrun?
Yeah. Down from Hamrun. That's Via Marsa they call it.
Ah, yes. And I suppose you, the children helped on the land?
No, we were too young.
Ah.
They left before World War I, come to Australia.
Gee, when did he come here?
1915, I think, when the war was on.
Did he ever talk about it much?
No, he never.
You don't know the name of the ship he came on? Or?
No, I couldn't tell you. It's a French ship. French ship we come out in.
Did he come with other people from Malta, like a group of...
Yeah. Him and his brother. And he had 2 brothers out here.
Gee, already out here?
Mm.
Yeah, that's a very early period.
Yeah, it is early period. I come out in 1922.
When did his other brothers come? The brothers who were here before him?
Oh, I think about 1912. 1912 or 1930, something like that.
Where were they? Do you know what part of Australia they were in?
Out of Sydney somewhere, working on the line.
Ah.
I don't know where to for sure.
What were their names?
One Sam Camilleri, other one Charlie Camilleri, Lou Camilleri, and then Johnny, Uncle Johnny, come out with my dad.
What was your father's name?
Mick.
Oh, did they go up north?
They did. We went up north cutting cane and in 1921, just before I come out here.
So you came out in 1922?
Yeah.
What was your ship that you came on?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I forgot now. It's the Blue Funnel, I think they still call it. You know, the funnel on the top painted blue.
Oh, yeah.
I call it the Blue Funnel.
That'd do the line, I suppose.
Yeah.
Were there many other Maltese people on that ship?
I couldn't tell you. Could have been a few. Must have been a few.
Yeah. I know it was a long time ago.
A long time ago, yeah.
Did you go up to Naples to catch the ship?
Yeah, I did. I had 10 days over there.
Ah.
I could talk Italian like a bloody Italian in 10 days. It's so close to Maltese, you know.
Mm. And then what, through the Suez Canal?
Yeah, to the Suez,
Stopped
to the Red Sea, stop at Colombo, and then landed at Fremantle. At Fremantle, we come to South Australia, we come to Adelaide, just embarked in South Australia. And my sister came out with me, and she got married in Adelaide. We come to live in Broken Hill.
So you actually came to Adelaide, got off the ship in Adelaide. Do you remember what time of year it was when you got in?
Around July, I think, June or July. No, June, we were on the boat. July.
Had you been outside of Malta before?
No, I was too young.
What jobs had you done in Malta?
None.
What about school? Had you done much school?
But I never learned any. I went to school in Broken Hill. I never learned anything.
What about languages? I thought didn't they teach language in those days?
No, they do in Malta. I used to teach Maltese and Italian and Malta.
And English? Any English?
Yeah, English. Oh, yeah. Malta was British. It was under. We was British subject.
What was the procedure in those days to emigrate? Like when you decided you wanted to come to Australia, what would you have to do?
My father sent for me. My mother sent me out. Me and my sister, like she was engaged to be married. And I come out with her.
But she was marrying a Maltese in Australia?
Yeah.
And where was your father at this stage? At this time? Where was he in Australia?
Oh, he was in South Australia, working in South Australia. Then when I come out, he come home for Christmas, Broken Hill. He was working on Lake Victoria, rising stone for the banks. And I said, I want to go with you, Dad. He says, you got to work, you better stay home and go to school. I said, no, I won't come with you. So I went with him. I had 18 months over there. And I come to Broken Hill, I got a job working on the ground. I had to put my age up to 21. I was only 17.
What did your father do in Adelaide when he was working in Adelaide? What was his job there?
Picking shovels.
So when you arrived and got off the ship in Port Adelaide, your father was there to...
Yeah, oh yes, to race us, oh yeah.
Any other Maltese there in Adelaide at that time?
Oh yeah, there was a few there.
Was there a club in Hindley Street?
Yeah, on the street. It was a club. On the street. And, but Dad never went to it, you know. We went past it. I remember the lad went past it. And they said, this is the Maltese Club.
There was a boarding house too, I believe.
Yeah, we lived in the boarding house, but she was Australian.
Oh.
It wasn't Maltese, she was Australian.
So. And what did you think of Australia when you were in Malta? What impression did you have? What did you think it would be like?
Oh, I couldn't tell you now. But I never ever wished to go back. I come out at 15 years of age. But if I had to have my time over again, I'd have it in Malta till I was 15. I used to have a lot of good times, go swimming and that, in the Mediterranean.
How did your friends and relatives react when you said you were going to Australia?
They said they're going to miss me.
But could they see that it might be good for you to go to Australia at all?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I haven't got a clue.
No. It was a long time ago.
It is.
Did you think you were coming to Australia permanently? Or
No. Only for a while. But when I got a job here on the ground, my daddy went home to Malta. And I said to him, what do you come out here, Dad, for? He said, I come to take you home. I said, no, you won't be taking me home. I'm stopping here. So he died here then. He died at Hamrun Bridge.
Was that a township?
Oh, a little town, yeah. Little town.
I know it was a long time ago, but do you remember when you first heard about Australia? When you were in Malta?
Gone to school.
Ah.
Well, gone to school, they teach you about different countries.
Did you have letters from your father here? Would he write home?
Yeah, always wrote home.
What sort of things, what impression did he give about Australia? Was he...
He was satisfied. But Mum wouldn't come out. See, my parents come from Goodsall.
Oh, yes.
And she used to get on the boat to go from Malta to Goodsall. She used to be seasick. When my dad sent for her, she said no, she won't come out. She only die on the water.
Yeah, it was a difficult trip in those days.
Oh, yeah. We had to take over a month. Now only a few hours.
Yeah, by plane?
By plane, yeah. Big jet.
Well, what about Australians in Malta? Were there any Australian people in Malta?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. It was not English. Not English.
Did people talk much about going, like, immigration?
No. When we were kids, when we were lads and that, to say we'd go to bloody France, we'd go to Egypt, one of them places, England. And I'd finish up out here.
But you didn't really think you'd end up out here?
Oh, I couldn't tell you. I never.
When you came over, what did you bring with you? Did you bring everything you had, or?
No, nothing. Only the clothes I stood in, and a few in the luggage.
Right. Did you have to do any medical tests? Or?
Oh yeah, you got to be A1.
What was it like? What did you have to do?
they undress you and they run like oh, I can't think of it now. Like, not operation, it's you got to be A1, you got to pass all the sicknesses.
Like a medical exam?
Medical.
A medical.
Mm. Mm.
Anything else that they would check?
No. No, you got to have an okay from the police station. You're clear. You've got no nothing against you, you know.
Like conduct.
Mm.
What about the language? Would they give you a test in English?
No.
I know it was a long time, but do you remember roughly what was the fare like in those days? Was it
The fare?
the fare? Yeah.
To come out, you mean? £50.
Was that the adult fare?
Yeah, adult fare.
So can you remember what happened when you finally got to Adelaide? You're in a completely new country, a strange country. The first day that you were here, what happened when you got off the ship and...
Oh, nothing. Well, I wanted to see Dad. If Dad was out here, I wanted to see him.
What, he was on the wharf waiting for you? Or?
Oh, yeah.
And then you went to a boarding house in
Yeah.
Adelaide? And what, did you do any sort of, were you employed in Adelaide?
No, I was too young. I was too young to be employed.
So the big move for you was really up to Broken Hill when you came to Broken Hill?
That's right, yeah.
With your dad?
No, my brother-in-law. My dad was working in Adelaide.
Oh, right.
He was 21 diseases. My dad used to work here. He used to work at they used to call it the cell block. They call it the zinc now. And when the 21 diseases come on, you've got to pass 21 diseases. My dad didn't pass them.
Well, that was 21 diseases. If you had any one of them, you couldn't work at Broken Hill. So you and your sister's husband?
He was working here.
What was his name?
Sam Bujaya.
Had he been in Broken Hill for very long?
Oh, yeah. As long as before we come out, he was working at the North Mine, underground.
He's one of the pioneers.
Yes, he would be one of the pioneers.
Where did you live when you first came to Broken Hill?
In Argent Street.
Was that a boarding place?
No, we had a house. We rented a house, I think.
Was your brother-in-law there? Or?
Eh?
Was your brother-in-law living there too?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it seems a lot of Maltese lived in Argent Street and Crystal Street too.
Crystal Street, yeah.
Did you know anything about Broken Hill when you were in Malta?
No. I think I knew my dad was here. They had the strike in 1921.
Oh, yeah.
They had a strike. And they were out, I think, about 3 years on strike. And then Dad went up north. He went to Brisbane, he went to Cairns, I think. And he bought a block over there, but it didn't rain. And they walked and left it. They walked away and left it.
And what did they do after that? Came back to Broken Hill?
Yeah. My dad couldn't pass the 21 diseases.
And so you were living in Argent Street?
On top of the hill.
Oh, yes. Is that house still there today?
Yeah,
Oh, what number is it?
21.
How long were you living there?
Oh, about 6 months. About 6 months, and then I went bush. When I come back, we were living there again. I go living with my sister, and then they shifted to Lane Street,
Oh, yes.
and I always lived with my sister. During the Depression, I didn't. I had a house of my own.
So when you were living in Argent Street, you were working in the mine?
Yeah.
And you said you went bush. What did you mean?
I went bush with my dad in Lake Victoria.
Ah, right.
I had 18 months there. They come here. Dad went home, left me with my sister, and I got a job at the meantime. On the ground, pushing trucks.
Ah, yes. What was pushing trucks?
Oh, you fill them up from a chute, they call it chute. Gelatine chute it is. And you fill the truck, you got a bar to bar it out, and you truck it out on the plat, and then the cage would pull it up.
How many people would push each truck?
Oh, they're only small trucks, only about as big as the stable.
They must weigh a ton, though.
Yeah, they weigh a ton. Between 1,500 weight to a ton.
And what, one person would push
One
it?
person, yeah, oh yeah. See, the line is to be upgraded, eh? And got to drop and say, you're pushing downhill with the full trucks. Only the empties, you push them back.
Gee, they worked in those days.
Bloody hell, they worked.
Suffered. And what about Lake Victoria? I must ask about that too. Could you tell me what was a typical day's work there?
We only work in the quarry, with contract. My dad was contract. It's to get 5 bob a yard. That's 50 cents a yard. And a block come and was carted away. It's only bush for Lake Victoria. Was building a bank. And they got the stone to build a bank to keep the bloody yabbies out.
Oh, yeah.
And after years, a bloke told me that the rabbit burrowed into the bank and washed it all away.
Was that the Murray River chap?
Yeah, yeah.
Do you want to explain that to him? It was the Murray River that he was doing.
Yeah, one Lake Victoria off the Murray River. It was like Stillfish Creek.
Yeah, that's what you want to tell him, because everybody wants to know.
Yeah, the more detail the better.
Yeah, they...
This is all history. What you're saying is very important.
Yeah, well, they run... Lake Victoria used to fill up from Channel 9 and block nine, I think they call it, and it runs out at Rufus Creek. And Rufus Creek, in the water, you go to Adelaide, all the way to, right down to Adelaide. That's in New South Wales, Lake Victoria. And we're working there. I had a good time to get a shotgun and go and shoot a few ducks or pigeon or a bunny. I used to have a good time.
But what were you actually doing? What would be your job there?
I'd raise them stone.
Sorry?
Raise them stone.
What, digging them up?
And digging them up, yeah.
And you'd live in
the tent. In the tent. There's no houses there. Only shacks where the single block used to live.
Do your own cooking and that?
Yeah, what would your routine be? Like, how would you live?
Oh, I used to get up in the morning and go to work and take our crib with us, our lunch with us, and knock off at about 4 o'clock, 4:30, and go down and cook tea and go to bed when about 8, 9 o'clock we'll go to bed and get up early next morning.
Explain how you did your cooking and that to him, Charles, because you wasn't in a house. You know,
No,
explain whether you're over an open fire or...
Oh, it is an open fire.
Yeah, but see, he doesn't know. If you explain it, it all goes down in history. See, people your age would know what you're talking about, but when you're young and you don't know the bush, well, they've got no idea how you did your cooking. And your father made the bread. Well, explain that to him.
See, I'm a city boy.
Yeah.
I'm a city boy. I don't know about anything. You're my teacher. You've got to tell me.
See, there was the camp oven.
Yeah, camp oven.
I don't suppose you ever saw one of them either.
No.
I got them down the back.
Oh, take a photo of one later.
Okay. I used to cook, like roast and bake bread, scones, and cook like meat. Used to buy a sheep every week, and the block would have half of it and half for us. And we used to cook all our meat in it. And made a frying pan to fry chops.
Would there be, how many blokes would there have been in the camp altogether?
Oh, well, it's only, where we were, there's only 4 camps was there. And 4 of them was working on the same job as what we were, but it was all contract. You get so much a yard.
Was that a government project?
Yeah, oh yeah. Yeah, it's
Public Works, would it be?
it would be public work, but they built a dam. The Lake Victoria, it's a big dam. And they put the weir, like the weir in it, and concreted all around. And they were working there for about 5 or 6 years. It's a big dam.
Were there any other people from Malta working on that project with you?
Only come up, didn't stay. Only come up, had a couple of weeks of a month there, and where they went again.
What would you do on weekends?
Go out and kangaroo, shoot a few roofs. And we had dogs, road dogs. We used to chase the road. And we used to sell their skin.
You were there for 18 months, you say?
18 months, yeah.
Was there a union?
Yeah, I was in the union.
Which one was that? Which union was it? AWU or?
No. It's a big one. I don't know. One practically all Australia was affiliated with.
Australian Workers Union. So then you came up to Broken Hill.
Yeah.
Were there many Maltese people in Broken Hill?
Yeah, there was a few.
I know it's a long time ago.
Yeah, well, a long time ago was 4 of us here, Charlie Camilleri, 3 cousins, and no relation. All used to work in the mine.
Well, there was another Charlie Camilleri.
Another 3.
Another 3? Gee. Where were they from?
Via Marsa. They're related. One from Goodjo, one from Via Marsa, and I was from Hamrun, and then was a bloke, Charlie Camilleri. He's from her army.
When had they come? When did they come to Australia, do you know?
After me.
After. So when you arrived here, who were the Maltese? Who do you remember who was here?
No, I don't remember.
What about in later years?
Later years, a lot of them come working on the mine.
Say before the war, before World War II.
Oh, yeah, there was a hell of a few of us here. A lot. But then the depression come on. And they all left Broken Hill.
Oh.
They got out of work, they shut the mines. And they got out of work and they didn't stay here, they went away.
Well, you stayed here?
I stayed here, yeah.
What was it like here during the Depression?
Oh, you got to battle to get, to get a feed. I had 2 sisters here. I used to go from one to another, have a good meal. I was on the dole. I was getting 7 and 6 a week, 15 bob a fortnight. I had to buy bread, meat, and grocery.
And where were you living at that stage?
I was living in Crystal Street.
In Crystal Street? Were there, did you find non-Maltese people in Broken Hill? How did they react, how did they relate to the Maltese people?
They were all right. But once you look like a bloody grill, once you look like a grill, you're a grill.
That's what they call them, their grills.
What's that?
Haven't you ever heard that mentioned?
No.
Well, if you're foreign, you're a grill.
Right.
A lot I've noticed down Adelaide, a lot of the same is their wogs. I don't know whether they class the Maltese as that or not, but all foreigners up here, they're classed as grills.
Oh, gee.
You'll often hear it said now.
The Maltese were British, weren't they?
Yeah.
But not always recognised as such.
No.
A lot of people didn't even know, that they were British subjects.
Were there, can you tell me anything else about the Depression in Broken Hill, like how it affected people?
Oh, it affected people all right because they was out of work. I had What did I have? I have 6 or 7 years out of work. When I was here. But I was doing all right. I was working at the art school.
Ah.
And I was getting a few bob there.
Yeah, like that.
Mm.
And what about things like people being evicted from their homes? Or I know these things happened in Melbourne and Sydney to an extent.
Yeah, well, one was evicted here, but no more. There wasn't a Maltese, that was Australian.
Right.
Mm.
Were there protests, like big marches and that type of thing? Like
Oh
there was in
yeah,
Sydney?
yeah. Oh yeah, they march every Friday night.
Oh yeah, can you tell me about that?
Oh, well, I used to go there and watch them. I never marched. I never marched.
What were they marching about?
Oh, about, should be work, you know. With jobs, there should be jobs. A bloke, he finished a foreman underground. He used to carry the bloody red flag. Right.
But didn't the unions give the families potatoes and flour each week or something, Charles?
Yeah,
They'd
yeah.
line up and get so much flour.
Yeah, so much flour.
Potatoes.
Well, I don't remember that, Jane.
I've heard my father talk about that sort of
Yeah.
What the unions would give?
Yeah.
You go, I think once a week, and I think you get just flour and potatoes. Things were that was before my time. It's only what I heard my father talk about, because I'm Australian. So it must have been very hard for them.
And did any of the Maltese here used to march in the...
Yeah. About half a dozen of them. Today's to march, they get a load of wood, 500 weight of wood. And then if they march, if they don't march, they don't get it.
What, they'd get some wood for marching?
Yeah.
Ah.
For cooking.
What the unions would organise the marches, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, really not the union organise it. It's like the unemployed. There was a few of them up high, you know, running it. And they used to march. They give you a book, and if you don't march, you can't sell the book, you can't get no wood. You've got to march to get the wood.
I didn't know any. Never heard of this.
I've heard that bit before. So we've got a good memory.
Yeah. I suppose, was it like an unemployed association?
Unemployed, yeah. Yeah.
And then after the Depression, things picked up in Broken Hill?
Yeah, when just before the war broke out, World War II broke out.
Did you have any Maltese people who ran businesses in Broken Hill?
Yeah.
Do you remember who they were and what sort of business it was?
Grocery shop. Couple of boarding house, 2 or 3 boarding house. And it was a grocery shop. We had that business.
Someone else mentioned that, but they couldn't remember the name of the person who
No, I couldn't remember the name.
Was it in Crystal Street?
Yeah, Crystal Street.
Is it still there, do you know?
No, it's a house now. The building's still there, but they turned into a house.
Would you know the number? Or
No.
I'd like to photograph all these things, you know. Is it on a corner?
No, down from the corner, about halfway the block.
Between what streets, Charles?
Crystal Street.
Yeah, but between what streets?
Eh?
Between Bromide and Caledonia, or?
Bromide, no. The street we used to live in. Garnet and the next one down. What do they call the next one? Caline.
What about the boarding houses? Do you remember the people who used to run those? Do you
No,
remember
they
their
all
name?
had nickname.
Could you give me the nickname, because I might be able to, that might help someone else to remember their names.
Oh, I couldn't tell you their names.
Was one?
Nicknames, but that long ago I forget.
Yeah, right, yeah, fair enough. Was there any centre for the Maltese community, like before the war, in those early years? Was there a central club or?
Yeah, it was a Maltese club.
In Broken Hill?
Oh, yeah.
Oh.
It was two of them.
Gee, tell me.
Two
Whereabouts were they?
in Hardships Street. Up this end.
When did they start?
I once started about 1924, and then another one started during the Depression, and then another one that was about 1923 was one, but he shut up shop and went back to Melbourne. He come from Melbourne.
1933, is that?
23.
23. Oh. Who was he?
Blue, they used to call him. Blue.
And he'd come up from Melbourne.
He came from Melbourne up on the club.
Where was the club, you?
In Hardships Street.
Again, I know it was a long time ago, but can you give me a rough idea where it was in Argent Street? What part of Argent Street?
Well, it's pulled down now.
Oh.
Pulled down.
What about the one upstairs there?
Yeah, well, upstairs is the shop, Jean.
Now?
Mm.
We had that for years, didn't we?
Mm.
Yeah, the one that was set up during the Depression,
Yeah.
was that the one upstairs?
No. Actually, before the Depression. He come up here. He come from Adelaide, I think. And he got a job underground. He didn't like it. And they opened up a club. And brought his wife out here and his family. He only had one daughter, born in Malta. The rest of them was born in Broken Hill.
What was his name?
Joe Zammett.
And he set up the club in 1924? Was it?
No, 26.
26. Where? Sorry?
Oh, he's still alive, isn't he, Chad?
Eh?
Joe's still alive, isn't he?
Yeah, he's still alive.
He's in Broken Hill, but I don't know where he lives.
Joe Upsky, they call him. You might have heard of him.
Yeah, I've heard the name.
Joe Upsky.
Where was his club?
Up, what's that?
Between Caledonia and Bromide Street, on that side of the road.
Garnet and...
Caledonia and Bromide.
Oh, that's right, Garnet and Bromide, yeah.
It hasn't been shut that many years then.
Eh?
It hasn't been closed down that many years, has it?
Ah, yeah. Just after we were met for about 2 or 3 years when they shut shop up and they opened a second-hand shop. Actually.
What would happen at... Oh, sorry, was this in Argent Street?
Yeah, Hardships Street, yeah.
The building's still there, but he said it's turned into a shop.
Mm.
Was it a club for Maltese people only?
No. Mix.
That you'd
A
find...
bit more Australian than the Maltese lads.
Would you find most of the Maltese in Broken Hill would go there and meet each other?
No, only a few used to go in. Not many. There's a lot in Broken Hill, a lot of Maltese in Broken Hill.
But not many went to the club.
No.
What was the club called?
Maltese club, they used to call it. It's only a gambling house, you know, where they gamble.
Would they talk Maltese in there? The Maltese?
Oh yeah, the Maltese.
Would there be any newspapers from Malta there?
Yeah. Yeah, bloke used to get them. Charlie. What's Charlie's name? I got his nickname was Jijik. His nickname.
And you'd get them sent over and...
Yeah, send over, yeah.
Was it the Times of Malta, or do you remember?
Oh, I don't remember. But he must have got them from Malta because they were read in Maltese.
You have the name of the newspaper? You remember the name of the
No, just a sheet of paper, Gene. A couple of sheet of papers.
And was there one other club later on?
Yeah.
What can you tell me about that other club?
Oh, I couldn't tell you much. And the bloke owned it. Like, he bought the building and owned it. I couldn't tell you. Charlie was his name, but I couldn't tell you his other name. Well, all by nickname.
Where was that club set up?
About 3 or 4 doors from the other one.
But much later on?
Not that later on, not that much later on. We used to go there to try and get a couple of bob.
Was it like the other club? Was it a gambling place mainly?
Yeah.
Just for cards though, wasn't it, Charles? Gamble with playing cards and betting?
Yeah, playing cards. Run a 2-up game, dice game.
The whole lot.
All the young ones used to go, I think.
Excuse me, I'll turn the tape over.
Wow.
So, what would you say, what were the main hardships for you coming from Malta to Australia in the early years?
Oh, there was no hardship at all. I was young then, see. But most Maltese, they come out to make a few quid and go home again, you know.
Did many actually do that, or did
Oh, yeah, fair few of them. Oh, yeah, fair few of them. A couple of my uncles did it.
Oh, yes. What, they came to Broken Hill, did they?
Yeah, very Broken Hill, yeah.
But what were their names?
Camilleri. And I had 3 uncles working here. Uncle Lou, Uncle Johnny, and Uncle Charlie. And I had about half a dozen or more cousins, second cousin.
What period was this?
What year?
Yeah.
1926.
So there were all those Camilleris in 1926.
Mm.
What about the cousins? What were their names?
Charlie, most of them Charlie and Sam. And Joe.
What were their surnames?
Camilleri.
Oh, right, sorry. Yes, I'm with you.
Charlie in Maltese is really Carmelo.
Yes.
Mm.
Yes,
But when they get here, I don't know, they all call themselves Charlie.
Like Sam, isn't it, and Salvo?
Well, yeah, that's right.
Yeah, something.
Mm.
And so the people you just mentioned, the 3 uncles, they worked at Broken Hill, then returned to
Yeah.
Malta? Was that during...
No. They went and got married. They went to Malta and got married. Brought their wife out and come back to Broken Hill.
Oh, I see.
And during the Depression, they left here, went to West Australia. I mean, they were mining, what they call miner. And in West Australia, they don't call them miners, they call them machine men. Well, I had no... I never worked on mining. All I'd done was trucking and what they call skimping, filling these stopes up with sand so they can come over and go over it again.
And how long were you trucking for?
Till the mine shut down, till the Depression come on. And then when the Depression started, I started again. When Depression went, like we got where the mine started working again, I was trucking. And then my brother-in-law come over from the North Mine to the British mine. He took me in with him mining. And I was mining about 23 years, 24 years. And then I went on the surface, working on the surface. I was off-siding for a pipe fitter, like a plumber.
Oh, yes.
Call them pipe fitters on the mine.
You did that until you retired?
Until I retired.
And when did you retire?
I was 62 years of age.
You're 77 now.
Oh, 1970. And where did you mentioned the people who went to Western Australia, what mine did they work?
Kalgoorlie.
Kalgoorlie. Yeah, well, that's news. I didn't know there were Maltese people working there. So.
More, yeah.
I think there might be a lot over there, the way
They're still over there.
some of them
Like
go. I think
the family is still there. In fact, my cousin, Joey, come up, when did he come up? About a couple of months ago, didn't he?
One that went to Sydney.
Mm.
Yeah, it wouldn't be that long, I think.
Yeah, he went to Sydney, like, and he come to Broken Hill. He bought a car in Sydney. He went by plane from West Australia, and he bought a car in Sydney and drove from Sydney to Broken Hill in West Australia.
It's quite a drive.
It is quite a
He's
drive.
Charlie's not Kalgoorlie.
Did he work in Kalgoorlie?
No, he got his own business. He was taxi driver. He had his own taxi. We used to come up here. Every couple of years he'd come up here. He'd come to see me and see his uncle. Mm-hmm. Uncle Johnny was alive then.
Well, when you came over originally, could you speak English fluently?
No. Only a few words. Were
you in regular contact with friends and family back in Malta?
My sister used to do all the writing. I never had contact with them at all. My sister used to write home.
And did she like Australia?
Oh yeah, she's still living here.
So she would have written favourable things if she did mention it? Did you ever hear about the Maltese who were sent up to Caledonia?
That was my dad.
Your dad was one?
My dad was one.
Gee. Gee. Did he ever... This is a very important incident, you know, very little is known about it.
As the boat broke out.
Yeah. So he came on the Gange with the ship, 1916.
I couldn't tell you the name of it.
No, that's what it was. There were 240 Maltese on it.
Yeah?
And Billy Hughes
Yeah.
wouldn't let them land because there was a lot of trouble with conscription, and they were worried that they were replacing the workers who were sent overseas. Were going to be replaced, see, by imported labour. So Billy Hughes made the ship go to Caledonia, to Noumea. They were kept there for months.
About 6 months, I think.
Well, what did your dad tell you about that?
No, he never spoke about it. So he was out of work.
Sorry?
He was out of work.
Oh.
He couldn't work over there.
Did he ever say what they did in Noumea, where they lived? Or?
No, never ever spoke about it.
Gee, what a pity it was. Did you meet any others from that ship?
No, only my uncle.
Your uncle was also on it? Did he talk about it at all?
No. They didn't talk about it much.
Oh, it would have been unpleasant, I think, for them. Which uncle was this?
Johnny.
Johnny Camilleri. And your dad's name was?
Mick.
Mick.
He had a brother here, Louis, and he had another brother, Charlie, working. Wasn't in Broken Hill though, working on the line. Some line was getting through. Train.
Wasn't up north, was it? Not the Darwin?
No. It was in New South Wales.
Ah, yeah.
New South
Was that in the 20s?
Wales. Yeah.
Have you encouraged or assisted other people to come out here from Malta yourself?
No.
And have you been back to Malta?
No.
Any desire to?
No, never. But when I finished work, if my mother was alive, I might have went and saw her.
Oh, yeah.
She was dead.
Yeah.
She died.
During the war here, I believe there was worry about the Japanese bombing the mines.
No.
Is that right? No, in Broken Hill.
Yeah. I had a wireless, was shortwave wireless overseas, and I used to set a time. I would say 6 o'clock. I'd turn it on to Tokyo, Germany, and listen to the news. And you ought to see the light. And one time I turned around, and he said, "Hello, Broken Hill. Hello, Broken Hill. We visit you one of this moonless night."
Oh.
Yeah, there was fear of them coming there. A lot of them went down and enlisted over there.
Gee.
In fact, I think everybody had to go and try to enlist, didn't they? Because you went and you were knocked back. They wouldn't take you.
Well, I had cooked feet.
Oh.
And when the Japanese bombed Darwin, they passed me A1. He said to me, "Can you be the squads?" I said, "Yeah." He said, "You're in. You're number 1." He said, "You're A1.
But you never had to go.
Did you never actually?
No.
What was the feeling among the Maltese here then? Like, did they know? Did you have news about what was happening in Malta with the bombing there? And
Oh, yeah. But they never used to talk about it much. They wasn't allowed to write out of Malta and say that they got bombed.
Letters were censored, you know.
It was a century.
See, his sister-in-law in Sydney, she told us all about the bombing. She was over there. And his mother was alive at the time, because his mother was a great, I think they all are great church people.
Yes.
And as soon as the bomb, she'd always go to the church. And his sister-in-law, she had 2 children, and she said she prayed for them to die. It was that bad, and the little girl did die. She had a little toddler and one on her hip. The little girl died, and she came out to Australia. When they came out, they were covered in sores and everything. So you can't really realise what they went through.
Actually, my grandparents died during it. One of starvation, malnutrition.
Yeah, that's what she said.
Yeah.
Grandfather.
Yeah?
Well, that's what Tony's wife told us. There was no food. It's been terrible.
Now, there's one final question that I ask everybody. How do you regard yourself? As Maltese or Australian?
Oh, well, Maltese always be a Maltese. But I had a friend, Australian, knocked around with them. And I knocked around with Maltese too. So I've been broken in. In fact, last Wednesday, my mate passed away, Australian. He was up at Butter Bay in a jail. Butter Bay. He passed away. It was too far to go for the funeral.
What's that past us?
If it was in Sydney, I would have. But he's up about 82 miles on the other side of Sydney, on the North Shore.
And how long have you been, when were you married?
In 1939 in the jail.
38.
38.
You're a Broken Hill lady?
Yeah.
Born and bred here.
Born and bred. Oh well, thank you very much for your time and
Okay.
recollections. They're very valuable.
Okay.